welcome everyone to our Experience podcast, an ASCP podcast. It's your co-host, Tom Hansel, with your CEO, Chad Wers. And today we're going to talk a little bit about preparation for the ASCP annual meeting. And so we've got the man of the hour that's going to be fully responsible for the successful annual conference in Aurora,
Good luck,
Colorado.
everyone.
So, first time that we are in the Denver area for ASCP annual conference at the brand new Gaylord Hotel. So that's exciting, Chad. I know Gaylord's is common for us, but this is a newer build, right?
Yeah, this is their newest one. Gaylord's, ASCP has done a lot of our meetings at Gaylord's, and part of the reason for that is that we are an odd fit for a hotel. We need so many square feet of expo hall space, and we need so many rooms a night. So it really limits our ability to just have our meeting wherever we want. We have to have it in a hotel that can accommodate both ends of that spectrum. Generally, Gaylords can do that. We have found some JW Marriotts that have done that. The one in San Antonio was that way. And then next year, we're in San Diego. The hotel we use in San Diego bought the former San Diego Convention Center, so they have a big expo hall space, and then they actually have exactly the amount of rooms we need, so we end up buying that hotel out, which is kind of fun. So instead of being one of a few groups like we are at a Gaylord, we'll be the only group at the Town and Country in San Diego. But the Gaylord Rockies is brand new. It's beautiful. I've heard nothing but good things from anybody else that's had their meetings there. It is new for us to go to Denver. We think that's exciting and fun, and it should be a great meeting.
Well, what I love about the Gaylords is you have everything you need right there.
Yeah.
And so in other conferences, especially if they're in a bigger city, people break for dinner and they're just gone. They're out to different restaurants. And at the Gaylord, you don't feel like you have to do that. You feel like you can stay there. And so you end up going to dinner and seeing multiple people that maybe you just saw at the conference or whatever, and get to hang out with them. And of course, they've got atmospheres like sports bars and different things like that, so you can go and continue just to socialize. So I feel like it's more of a closed community. So I certainly prefer them as well.
Yeah, it fits who we are. I mean, we're an association where the networking is one of the best values that we bring, is having those interactions with your colleagues. So to your point, having at a Gaylord where people can intermingle, even if they're out at dinner, look across the room and see a bunch of people that they know, those are good interactions and engagements. So we think that's
certainly
helpful. Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I was going to say, I was going to take into a direction of kind of what we're going to do at the conference. And I really appreciate being an operations background pharmacist, where I spent most of my career inside the operations. I always said that I wasn't clinical enough to be able to really go out and be a good consultant. I learned that early on in my career, that you really have to know dem drugs well. You have to really be kind of focused on the evolution, the changing, and operations is more my style. I really appreciated just the workflow and the business sense, and that's why I went ahead and pursued my MBA. What I love about what ASCP is doing is it's really about long-term care pharmacy. And so we've got a lot of clinical-based CEs, but you guys have really worked hard at putting together a full agenda for operational pharmacists, the one that more on the inside based on the operations. In fact, I believe you can get all your live CEs that you need for that year just by going to this ASCP conference. You can get, I believe on average around 8 live CEs that are just solely focused on operations. And you've been doing that for the last couple of years. I don't know how many pharmacists realize that, but I can get all my annual CEs right there and not even have to go on the clinical side if I choose not to.
Yeah, I think, and we talk about this a lot. The term consultant pharmacist has been bantered around for the 55 years of our existence. But if you go back to the very beginning in the late 60s, when this organization was founded, and founded with the name American Society of Consultant Pharmacists. At that time, the consultant pharmacist was a way of describing the pharmacist that was consulted by the nursing home about, which were also new at the time. We didn't have nursing homes, before that. And they were saying, hey, I want to consult the community drugstore about how am I going to get medications for this 60, 80, 100 people that live here. I don't think I can have 100 or 800 amber vials that are floating around this nursing home and do a good job of administering and helping people with their medications. So our entire existence as ASCP and as pharmacists that work in long-term care started on that premise. So when we say managing medications, we're not talking exclusively about picking the right medication for diabetes that works for you. We're talking about all the things that go into managing medications, which right now can be very much about how it's packaged, how often you take it. It doesn't have to be a deep clinical conversation. It could be something as simple as, well, I have trouble seeing and I can't draw up insulin into a syringe and calculate a dose. That's too sophisticated for me. I need something that's, a one dose, once a week injection. That's managing medications. That's very, if you want to call it operational in nature, versus clinical in nature. But it's all the same thing. And we have to be, as pharmacists and working in a pharmacy environment, recognize that medication management is all of that stuff. It's not just the deep clinical. That's a component for sure, but so is, pouch packets. That's a way of managing medications for people. And we also know that pharmacy is not, the community in the world does not perceive pharmacy as, clinical pharmacists, dispensing pharmacists. It's just pharmacists and pharmacy. So we're all tied together. So we want to make sure that our membership is healthy from a business perspective across that spectrum.
No, absolutely. And, we're going to have the CMS updates, and we're going to get DEA updates, and those have become very traditional, but, because it evolves so quickly, it's something that I always look forward to be able to get the most updated information of what's going on with CMS, what's going on with DEA, what's going on with the different lobbying efforts that we have here at ASCP and that we fight for. But we're also focused on cutting edge, newer technologies and things that's going on. I believe for the first time ever, we're going to have an AI panel, artificial intelligence panel. What is it? What's happening? And what does that mean for pharmacy? How can pharmacy take advantage of artificial intelligence, and how should we be able to use that? I believe that's going to be a panel, right?
Yeah, and some of the way we're weaving the education for the meeting is we're going to bring in a panel, and we're bringing in somebody from the Ford Motor Company. We're bringing somebody in from IBM that does work in the healthcare aspects of IBM. But ultimately, it's the first part of that panel is about how does the different industries see artificial intelligence? How are they using it? And then being able to tie that application to what we might start seeing in healthcare. What does that mean? Ford Motor Company is building cars. This is how they're using AI. That may be the furthest thing from healthcare, but their application of it and the things that they're asking it to do might have the same applications in healthcare. So how do we bridge that and bring that forward? And then we're following it with one of our pharmacies has some innovative workflow software, and that's how they're using AI. So it's, I think when AI is such a buzzword, and when people hear it, especially pharmacists, they think my job's going away. AI is going to take my job away, and that's not going to happen. But AI is going to influence how you do your job. It's going to hopefully make your job better from that perspective. So how are these people in these other industries viewing it and applying it. We still need auto workers to build cars, but AI can certainly help auto industries build cars better. Same thing's going to happen in healthcare. So just building things that kind of build on each other at the meeting, to really take people down this path of AI, not just simply have a talk about, hey, this software does this, and this is AI and how it's going to affect healthcare. It's this sort of journey.
Absolutely. It's a tool. You don't have a pharmacy anymore saying, "Man, we're not using those computers, We're not into that internet thing. We're just going to paper bill everything." And it's just another tool that has burst onto the scenes, and it's really been an advancement coming from advanced machine learning. And there's different forms of AI, but the form that is out there that everyone's using is really a tool that's programmed to do a very specific function.
Yeah.
And whether we use that for protection or whether you use that just for efficiency, but it's going to help further the pharmacy or any business.
Yeah, and I think it'll be good to have, we always have a wide variety of pharmacists at our meeting, from people that have been in this space for 30, 40 years to people that have just graduated and are now working as pharmacists. And being in the room together and hearing these conversations is important. I guess being at the latter end of that time range, older pharmacist, remember that I hated coming in on Saturday mornings because Friday was usually busy at the pharmacy, and there would be a stack of prescriptions that I had to file into the file, the Dewey Decimal System, which was not a Dewey Decimal System, but filling your Schedule 3s and your Schedule 2s and putting your regular prescriptions all filed away into the file cabinets was brutal. I hated that. So, how did AI help that? Well, we don't have to do that anymore. The computer does that. So, we have to think of AI in that vein. It's going to take away things that we probably don't like doing anyway. And it gives us our time to spend on things we do like doing, which I think will be the thing that AI brings to pharmacy.
Yeah, I mean, it's all narrow intelligence. Basically, it's any AI tool right now that's designed that people talk about and brag about. It's really designed to do one specific function. It's not going to start thinking for itself and making decisions for itself and all those fake things that people talk about or conspiracy theory stuff. It's programmed, designed to do one specific function, but it does it really, really well, and can help enable pharmacists and technicians to work at the top of their license to be able to do the things, the emotional and the relationship and the clinical based, the things that they really are wanting to do and are trained to do.
Yeah, I think as you look at this meeting and how it's setting up, there's, obviously that's one aspect of the education that we're bringing from a business perspective. The other side of it is the whole focus on pharmacy benefit managers and insurance plans. So our workshop on Thursday, which traditionally has been an update for industry, for our vendors and for our industry partners, is now going to be aimed at industry and our pharmacy businesses. And we're going to bring in a whole panel, a couple panels of people from PBMs and insurers to talk about, really to do two things. Selfishly, I want them in the room to get a better understanding of who we are as long-term care pharmacies and pharmacists, but also to have them dialogue about, what they're doing to try to improve things. I don't want it to be, we hate their reimbursements, we're going to yell at them for 4 hours on Thursday, but I do want it to be a dialogue about, hey, we're not community pharmacy. You can't, these things that you're doing that you think work to improve community pharmacy or to improve your bottom line via community pharmacy, they're going to be problematic in long-term care settings for all these reasons that you probably don't consider. And hopefully they learn something from that dialogue as they go forward and contract with long-term care pharmacies that service nursing homes.
But if they had some kind of protective equipment, like helmet or something,
Yeah,
that would probably.
we will have some people there to try to defend them. No, but I think it'll be good. I think ultimately, um, they're making decisions for these. They're big businesses. They have huge swaths of business. They're pulling levers that they want to affect 95% of the pharmacies that are in their network, and they're not thinking about the 5% that is long-term care. So they're not thinking about it, and what I hope to accomplish is educate them. Hey, we're more like a hospital pharmacy than a community pharmacy for the most part. Number one, so you can't take these same tactics that you do for community pharmacy. And number two, we're going to make enough noise that it's not worth your time. Just, placate us and let us go because we're 5% of your business, and you need to worry about the other 95%. Make sure you pay us reasonably and responsibly, and go fight other battles with other places.
Yeah, I mean, I say all the time that most of these PBMs are owned by some kind of healthcare organization or pay organization that really has to pay, that insurance company that really has to pay for bad outcomes.
Yeah.
And our whole focus is improving that patient's health, but minimum sustaining them so they don't have to get readmitted, so they don't have to go back to the hospital, and so I think that just makes total sense, and it certainly should make sense to anybody that's on that payer side. We're into de-prescribing medications, not just dispensing medications, and so we're going to find opportunities to lessen the cost.
Yeah.
And we're just looking for partners to be able to do that with.
Yeah, so I think artificial intelligence, our agency updates with CMS and DEA, this PBM opportunity on Thursday, which is a pre-meeting, and then we have a PBM panel also in the general course of our meeting on Saturday. All of it sort of aimed at, again, that business component. Like, how are we what are some of the plans doing from a reimbursement perspective that are innovative and are opportunities for pharmacies and pharmacists, and how do we get them connected? Because there are a lot of insurers out there that are paying pharmacists for non-traditional activities, and it's about identifying yourself as a willing pharmacist or pharmacy and linking up with those plans and saying, yeah, I can do that. I can track blood pressure in my patient population if that is something that's important to you, and you're paying pharmacists to do that, or manage A1Cs. So a lot of it is aimed at that from that standpoint.
Yeah, one of the subjects is grinding forward to new payments for pharmacy services.
Yep.
That's going to cover a lot of areas that not necessarily is about dispensing medications.
Well, and it's also not aimed at a particular type of senior care pharmacist. It's aimed at all of them. Like, pharmacies can get involved in that. Pharmacists can get involved in that. It's almost when we talk about like long-term care pharmacy at home. We know people are aging in place. We know that people that are aging in the community are starting to look more like nursing home patients of the past, but they don't want to go to a nursing home, so they're trying to make it work at home. We know in the future that type of individual is going to be at home. So how do we get services to them, and how do we get payment for those services? And again, we're not just asking, hey, we package this in pouch packaging to make it easier for patients. You should pay for that. You should. We deliver 24/7. You should pay for that. You should. We want a pharmacist to engage this person on a monthly basis and look over their medications and work with their medical team. You should, and you should pay for that. Those are opportunities for pharmacies and for pharmacists independently of each other and in collaboration with each other, and we want to make that a focal point of how we move forward.
How about guest speakers or keynote speakers, I should say? What do we anticipate? Who's coming? I know last year we had Anthony Cha-Cha, and he was fantastic. Everybody was up early for that. Who's this year should we expect?
Well, we've got a chef by the name of Eric Zebolt. He is a Thomas Keller trained chef. He worked at the French Laundry. He opened restaurants for Thomas Keller in New York. He has his own restaurants here in D.C., and he's going to bridge that hospitality component. So how does he take care of customers, and how does it apply to pharmacies and how they take care of customers? He's also going to touch on, the whole food is medicine movement and why it's important to get, your food from trusted sources the same way it's important for people to get their medications from trusted sources. So we're trying to draw that parallel to the foodie scene and the pharmacy scene, and give people an entertaining keynote speaker from that standpoint. So I think he'll be awesome. And then we have sort of a surprise for the second day. And I'm not going to reveal it on this show, but it'll be coming forth to everybody as we approach the meeting. But it's along the same lines. Like, we really want to make the conversation around valuing, acknowledging pharmacists for practicing at the peak, which is the theme of our meeting this year. So how do we bring somebody in along the lines of Antonio Chacha that can talk about reimbursement and payment and recognition for pharmacists? So we'll reveal that as it gets closer to the meeting.
So that sounds like the chef's just going to make us hungry. He's not going to actually be cooking anything. But
we really tried to make him, like, at the end, cook up some things for everybody, but not on the cards. But he'll be a great speaker.
And that secret guest, that's not going to be like a ex-Cincinnati Bengal or anything like that. Like Boomer Esiason's not going to be there.
I won't lie to you and say that we have floated the idea of Boomer Esiason before. That it's not going to be Boomer Esiason this year, but I like the way you're thinking.
I was thinking that I'm probably going to have to sleep in that morning. But,
yeah, right. No, it's not going to be a Bengal.
I'll come up with some.
It won't be John Elway either.
Pittsburgh-related questions.
It won't be John Elway because we're in Denver either, so don't worry about that.
Well, Denver's struggling over the last couple of years, so I don't think it'll be anybody recent. But yeah. in that football theme there a little bit. But well, it's exciting, and I know that the best part about it, I think, is that social network, that social interaction, and it's good to see some people that maybe we haven't seen, for that for the past year. But very excited about it coming here in early November. And looking forward to maybe getting some skiing in right afterwards.
There you go. No, it should be great. Denver's going to be a great host city. Registration to date has been robust. We look like we're going to be much bigger than some of our meetings in the past, which, again, this is a time to meet with your colleagues and learn what they're doing in their practices. I mean, as we talked about the education, particularly from the business side, we're trying to highlight some of that. Like, what is this pharmacy in Puerto Rico doing? Because I know he's one of the speakers. He was on one of our recent podcasts. But what is he doing? And has he found something that might work for pharmacies in the northwest part of the country and the Midwest part of the country? So really, meeting and sharing ideas is the point of our annual meeting, and we feel like it's going to be really good this year, and everybody should attend.
We're looking forward to it, Mr. Wers, and thank you for making sure that this goes smooth, and I know it will. It's exciting every year, and certainly something that people talk about and buzz about over the holidays. So really excited to be a part of that, and can't wait to get it going.
Yeah, look for that registration for that pre-meeting PBM workshop. If you want to attend that'll be on Thursday, November 7th. Meetings the 7th through the 10th. It's in Denver, Colorado, easy to access from an airport perspective. And the Gaylord Rockies is located very near the airport. Brand new hotel. Gonna be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for attending here, and we'll look forward to seeing you all very soon.